I think you should be able to hear me now. I think my computer had decided to just mute my microphone in a little ticky box place somewhere deep in the settings. So hopefully that's it resolved. Alrighty. Well, we can get underway then. I was actually just talking to myself for a while, so now I'm talking to all you guys. Alright, so what was I saying before? Well, I was reintroducing the Abyssal Dead Space because this is up to tier 1, and if it is just going to be myself, which is kind of how I've run the last few classes, to be honest, it's just on Twitch, and that's fine. I mean, this type of class, if I get more than 2, then we have to kind of break up into little groups of 3, just how the content works. And I was basically just introducing really what an Abyssal was. It's type of PvE content that can be run solo, and it's most profitable to do it that way. So the kind of fits an approach as kind of how to do it solo. I was saying that the most important thing for to be aware of is a type of content that if you fail or take too long, you have a 20-minute timer when you start this content, and you are fully committed. You have to escape and finish the content. There's no kind of backing out or warping off with Abyssals. That not only does your ship instantly explode if it's not killed by the rats inside, your pod also gets destroyed. And it's rare for Eve to have PvE content that destroys your pod, but this is definitely one that is. However, the upside of that, if done correctly, then this can be a really lucrative ISK income for even alpha pilots up to at least tier 1. So I would say, like, tier 1, forget runs if you can do it efficiently. Don't lose any ships. Maybe something a bit more expensive like my worm here, rather than the kind of learning fits. Then I kind of find it comparable to somewhere between level 3 and level 4 mission running in high sec. So it's not quite level 4, especially if you're got a kind of Noctis and you're salvaging and things and playing around with the agents to take certain missions to increase your profitability, those kind of shenanigans. But it certainly kind of approaches that kind of level 4 mission running, maybe something like 60 to 70 million an hour, and there's a bit of variability in that. Blueprint copies can drop that can be worth a various amount of value, as well as other filaments of a higher tier, sometimes as much as 2 tiers higher than the tier that you're running. And if that happens, they can be worth something like 20 million for a single filament if you get the right flavour of filament. So that's a nice segue into talking about filaments, because that's what you need to start. These are items that you can find through exploration, or you can find when you are you can just buy off the market. You can also find one-shot and abyssals. So I tend to find that when you start running these, you will end up with lots of filaments. They come in different flavors. I guess I have 2 here, gamma and dark. So what does that mean? Well, in here, once you jump into the abyssal through the filament, you get a sort of weather condition, and this has quite dramatic effects. It's always the same depending on the filament that you take, and it's the same for the different tiers. But for example, in this one is a gamma ray afterglow. So if we look at show info, what that does: an abyssal dead space environment saturated with radiation, blah 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 blah. But the main bit is that ships in this environment receive a bonus to shield HP, so your shield hit points go up, but so do all the enemies. And you get a penalty to explosive resistance. So inside, if you look at my ship just now, then I'll have more hit points here, but my explosive resist values will go down. Now that makes it very attractive to run gammas with shield based fits. You want to kind of play to the strength of the environment. Okay. If you look at the other one, the dark here, then it has a different environment, so dark matter field. The main one in this one is that you receive a bonus to your maximum velocity, so if you are speed tanking with afterburners, you're even harder to hit, you'll go even faster. All other enemies can also be harder to hit, so you need to make sure that you can hit your enemies and your turret range is reduced. However, if you fly ships without turrets, it means that you don't see that negative. So dark filaments are favoured for ships that have missiles or rockets or drones. The only thing you then have to worry about is if you're using larger sized weapons. There is cruiser fits that we'll talk about in a little second, that they might not apply as well to faster moving targets, because remember, everything gets these, you and your enemies. A lot of things to say about drones, because I mean the drones are actually my kind of primary weapon system in this worm. I do have missiles, but a lot of my damage does come from my drones. Is that there are environmental hazards. There are clouds that can do various things, give you various effects, like a thermal damage reduction, so you would take a lot more thermal damage inside the cloud. One of the most lethal ones is the dreaded white cloud. When you go into abyssals, you see that even in their little animation here, it's a little wormhole into 3 spherical pockets. Those spheres are real, and if you go beyond them, you start taking massive amounts of damage. So if you go through this white cloud environmental hazard, then it can literally accelerate you to like 20,000 meters a second, and you just get slingshot out of the little pocket system and die a horrible death. So you have to be aware of your surroundings. You can't just be looking at your enemy all the time. There's other environmental hazards like certain towers, the Triglavian towers, and some of them can basically shoot sort of a flak field around them, and if your drones are in there, or if enemies are classed as drone type, and there's quite a lot of the enemies inside can be, that will take damage. So if you are using drones, you need to make sure that your drones are nowhere near there, because they can get chewed up quite rapidly. Or if you're not using drones, then you might want to go there, because it'll actually speed up killing the enemies. So there's kind of tactical choices to make, and it's all about being prepped so that, as I say, you don't lose your ship. Because if your ship gets blown up, your pod auto gets destroyed, and if you can't make it out in 20 minutes, then everything gets destroyed as well. That also means like certain fits, if you're not doing this in a frigate, you can do it in a cruiser. One of the common starting cruisers is the Caracal, with rapid lights as a choice there. That applies well to all targets, but the problem is you have that 35-second reload timer, during which you only have 2 drones to do damage. So you have this burst, and then you have a wait time. And in normal missions, that's not really a problem. It just sets a sort of pace for your mission to go through, but you are doing this lovely high damage with these rapid lights. However, that means that can slow you down. And against certain targets that might be quite tanky, it could put you at risk, maybe not in a tier 0, but possibly in a tier 1 of that completion timer. So you need to be careful about your speed. If there's any questions about that, please let me know in the chat. See, there's a couple of you. Join, I think we had a few more, but then I wasn't talking, so hopefully I come back. But if there's any questions just now, let me know. Otherwise, we will get underway. There's a couple of newts in system, or 1 newt in system, so we should be okay. I'm going to move from E3 to a quieter system, which is what you should do when you're running abyssals. You should find somewhere really to run these. So I haven't had any sign-ups to come along. I usually like to get 2 at least, so we can have a little party inside the Abyssal, but this time it's just going to be me and Twitch, so let us go. Far too many tacks. A little bit about the fit I'm using. I'll try and share some of the starter fits in Twitch chat, although I find that the copy-paste fit style that works for Eve sort of messes up in Twitch chat, or at least it does for me, so we'll see how that goes. I'm using a worm. It's a pirate faction frigate. It's basically the sort of frigate version of the Gila. Therefore, it's going to use missiles and drones as damage, although it gets massive bonuses to its drones, so that's really kind of where your main bit of damage is coming, but it's supplemented with your missiles. Standard light missiles, so it's 42 kilometer range. That will be more than enough for Abyssals once they're in the pocket. I've got Microwarpdrive and Shield Booster. This fit does bling it slightly, so we have, just check, okay, we have 2 newts in my system. That's not a great start. So I think we'll just get safe, hopefully, because I don't want to get caught in this fit. Don't want to get caught on the gate with a saber and lose my worm before we even get in. So we'll just get safe on tether for a little second, see what happens while I talk about the fit. Alright, so we have a little bit of a bling that's a 50 million Microwarpdrive. Full fit's around 130. That's probably a little bit wrong down here, especially now. It's more like 150, 160. So a bit expensive for a frigate. However, I find that if you know what you're doing with your manual piloting, this fit is pretty safe. And it would just be something like not paying attention to that white cloud environment that you'd have to watch out for, or just not paying attention to some high damage rats. But otherwise, it's fairly safe. We've got some backup drones just in case we need them. So again, if you're not paying attention, you can lose a drone. But it's not only got just the 2, so we can pop out a few more if need be. So that should be fine until we get outside. It's also got this Republic Fleet small cat battery. That's not as expensive, I don't think. It's 15 million. And everything else is just standard. So 2 drone amplifiers down here, because drone damage is our primary focus. Thermo and EM. This should be a Tech 2 thermal shield reinforcer. I forgot to actually check if Tech 2s were back in stock. But when I was making this fit down here, they didn't have the Tech 2 in stock at E3. I wonder if it has been restocked now. No, so that's fine. We just lost like 5% thermal. It's not going to be the end of us. We've got capacitor control circuit here, which boosts your capacitor recharge rate, and the Republic Fleet faction cat battery plus that, and the A-type Microwarpdrive. Really, what that gives us is cap stability with everything running. That's kind of why we had that expense. That means that we can sort of just go really fast, over 3k here, so that we can complete the sites quickly, get to where we need to go, and even pick up some of the optional bonus loot choices without really running out of time. Afterburner, of course, is safer and better to learn in. It does mean that you're a little bit slower, and any sort of bonus loot that might be 50 to 90 kilometers away, you can't really go for, or not many of them, in case you are running out of time. So that's really the fit. It's fairly easy to fly. We're doing a lot of manual piloting. We're doing some orbiting once we get in, and we'll see how that goes. But I'm a little bit concerned of our 2 newts in system. The system's usually blue, so we'll just see. Usually only get newts like this if you have a wormhole in system, and I don't see one. So I think we're going to go somewhere else just in case this gets a little bit spicy. You should try and find a system to go in, and I do see combat probes I saw on scan there, so that actually is quite good to chat about now since it's here. That I normally run these by going to a safe and then activating my filaments. If you're running a frigate in solo, then you need 3 of them, so it's meant to be run as 3 frigates, but we've basically got a fit that can handle the whole filament, the whole everything in there solo, so that we get all of the loot, and that's really why it's kind of worth it to do, because it's effectively loot that should be shared amongst 3 people, and you're getting to keep all of it. However, you are a little bit vulnerable. Although when you're in the pocket you're safe, when you pop out, if someone's sitting on your abyssal trace, the thing that's created when you pop these abyssals, or these filaments even, then they can catch you and bubble you there, so, and then destroy your nice shiny ship that you've just successfully completed your filament on, which is always not fun. So with combat probes out and 2 neutrals, this is not a system I want to run. Oh, okay. Well, I've been chatting, the neutrals have left, so hopefully they don't come back. That's great. Alright, so we are going to go, I just had a little safe set up in the system as it was. We're going to pop to... oh, no, that's the wrong one. I went to the wrong place. I'm FC bingoing already. Go a little bit deeper into the system to a safe, and it means that anyone that is hunting me does have to bring combat probes. I guess they were friendly combat probes from someone in the system trying to find out where those neutrals were. Just means I haven't used this version down here before. Normally I run these in high sec, but I thought I'd get one here, so put down in my groups. To activate the Abyssal you need to be in a fleet, so even though I'm by myself here, I've formed a fleet and I'm in a fleet, and that still counts. You need to be in a fleet or it won't work. That's usually the #1 kind of roadblock for newer players. So we have a choice here. Because I'm missile, I can either go for dark, which means that I'm going to go faster, and everything that uses turrets is going to have a harder time, but I primarily use missiles. Or I can go for gamma, which means that my shield hit points are going to be boosted, but I'm going to take a little bit more explosive damage. Now, the worm is locked in its missiles, at least, to thermo and kinetic if you want the bonus, so that doesn't play as well into that, but it does mean that I don't have warriors, but you could bring explosive-based drones so that you can take advantage of that. But it is tier 1, so it allows us to kind of have a wee bit of leeway there. So probably going to go for gamma first. So we're going to go gamma. So here you set whether it's 3 frigates, 2 destroyers, or 1 cruiser. You can run this solo, and a destroyer or frigate. If you come with a destroyer, you need 2 filaments. If you're coming as a solo cruiser, you need 1. If you're just learning, then cruiser can be safer because you're in a bigger ship, so you have more tank. You don't have to worry about speed tanking as much, so less manual piloting, and you can tend to get more DPS if you have lower SP. So you can certainly run it in a cruiser. However, in the lower tier, especially, your earnings won't be as much, so the amount of loot that you get won't be as much as if you do the 3 frigate version, because that's because it's meant to be split between 3 frigates, even though we're doing this solo. So it's great to learn in, and the higher tiers generally are run in cruisers for safety. There is some insane like Retribution assault frigate fits where everything is bling and your pod is bling and you're committing an obscene amount of risk to do these higher tier abyssals, but of course the reward is then better because you're still getting that sort of 3-way split to yourself. So we're going to choose the 3 frigate option, activate for the fleet. You'll see that we've just created the Abyssal Trace. It is like a gate. You can take it like a gate, and we're going to activate and go in. It does give you this warning that you have 20 minutes upon activation. So if I look at the top here, you see that I get a flag appear, just like you maybe get like a PvP flag or a limited engagement flag. There, so that's our 20 minutes, and it's already started counting down. So we have some enemies here. We have the biocombinative cache. That is the main treasure to get in each section. So we're going to go ahead there first. And when these things get in range, we can only target to 38, even though our missiles go to 40, but these things are going to come quickly. Now I'm a little bit wary about these skybreakers, because I am fairly sure that they do some AoE damage, and that is a problem with my drones. So we are going to poke them with some missiles first, and then I'll see how my drones do with them. You can always show info and see what the resistances are if you have a way to change resistances. So shooting them with thermal is good. We're going to be able to do quite a lot when we get into armor with them, and these ones are quite nasty. So we are going to get, let me just check that resistance again. Shield is okay to shoot with really anything, so we are just going to get our acolytes out. I'm going to watch my oh, there we go. Like I thought, the skybreakers are a little bit nasty for our it's probably one of the tougher ones. So what we'll probably do is fly away. Now this automata suppressor here is also can hurt our drones, so we need to get away from that. So we are going to have to fly away over to here, and while we're flying, it means that they're going to be chasing us rather than shooting our drones, because we really don't want to lose our drones at this point. And I don't think my missile damage is probably enough to break these on our own, so we need to take a little bit of care how we do this. So hopefully our acolytes have recovered a little bit. So I'm going to hopefully send them in. Did I get the attack? I did before I lost. Now I need to be careful. There's the end of the sphere, so I can't fly out of that. This is a subnode, so this is a kind of additional treasure cache. And you'll see now that the skybreakers are not able to apply their AoE terrible damage while I kind of kite them away. So that's why I'm still in range for that missile. That's why manual piloting is a kind of need. So if I just tried to face tank that, I would have basically lost that fight. I need to stay away from this thing too. Well, my drones are being good and automatically attacking them. I'm attacking the wrong thing, but that's fine. We'll take the troop last. I just need to be physically away in case they're doing the AoE. Although that first big hit might have been the suppressor actually. It has been a little bit of a while since I've done tier 1s. There we go, we're breaking that guy now just fine. Got a little bit spicy there for a second, but we're all good now I think. That's the cap stable is really good with this fit, because you do not have to worry about your cap if you're under no nuke pressure. So I can focus on doing that flying. Remember, manual piloting is just double clicking in space. You do lose access to your tactical grid here, so you're kind of in the orbit camera. It doesn't have the sort of tactical view, which is a little bit different than normal space. But yeah, you're just looking about range and enemies like this, just understanding the enemy types, that some enemies, if they're hitting you, which he is, he's targeting me, but if we're all close and orbiting 500, then their AoE damage from the kind of Concorde Skybreaker ship type can hurt your drones. And we're getting through him. That's why even tier 1 is such a big step up from tier 0. If you watch my video on YouTube on tier 0, you'll see kind of how easy that was as an introduction. So I've lost a bit of time here, so we're probably going to leave the extra treasure chest, although it doesn't take me long to get there. We are going to go orbit this thing and make sure my drones are back. If you do leave your drones and jump through and you need your drones to break enemies like we did there, then you are basically screwed. So you have to take care. And do a wee pulse here, and we get to about 7 or so. We'll stop just to try and be efficient with our time. So there's 1 million in this first cache. Not the best I've ever seen. It does vary a little bit, but we'll see what we get by the end of it. And we'll jump through. I can stop that going, get a wee bit cap back, just in case there is a wee bit of nuke pressure. The enemy types vary, and it is a sort of random pick for each one. So we'll see what we have this time. Okay, so we have kind of drifter enemies in this. They have Omni-Tank on their armor. They are probably drone types. They probably don't have shield, but they have fairly heavy tanks. They will shoot you with thermal and EM, so that's fine. So we'll get moving. Don't think we have to worry so much about the AoE, but do you see this white cloud here? This thing can accelerate us out if we're not paying attention. Although I do not see a suppressor in here, so maybe we'll have a wee bit of extra time. So let's get our tank going, get our damage down, get our acolytes out. We just have to watch this white cloud here, because I've got my sneaky suspects that it's that one that is the shoot you out at 20,000 kilometer one. So there is a node and a sub node. So we are going to go over and poke those. While we're killing those, we are going to go over and see if we can get some extra loot. Because why not? I'll get my drones in that before I lose target. And just watching, I think they might be taking, the notifications are actually in the way. They're taking some pot shots at my Acolyte, or that Lucid Aegis is. Have to be really careful, because there's the edge of the zone along with the white cloud. Okay, nothing in that. There was no loot in that. It was a kind of false one. So got my drones back for a lost any, which is good. Get back on this guy. This is the one that we've damaged. I don't think their reps are very strong. Let's just pop our Hornets out. They're both back on me, so you do have to watch that kind of drone aggro. So there's quite a lot of things you have to be watching. Oh, I think I clicked the cache rather than the subnode. Where is this subnode? Oh, it's over there. Okay, that's fine. It's a great thing on the Microwarpdrive is I do not lose too much time going after these things compared to an Afterburner. So one shot from a missile should blow it up. Do we get anything this time? We do, so we do have some loot. That is great news. All the enemies have been killed. I'll bring my drones back just before I forget that. Let's see what we get. So we got another 300k in that, just boosts our kind of earnings. While I've got the time, I'll reload our missiles. How are we doing in time? We're 12 minutes. So that's okay. We've cleared 2 rooms. There is only the final room to go. So we have 12 minutes to clear the final room. The final room tends to have be a little bit tougher than the others. 2.8 million in that, so that's a bit better. I was a bit disappointed with the first one that we got, but 2.8 million, so we're already at 5.6 million. And we're just going to pulse that to get close to jump the gate. Alright, so we do have a battleship in this final room here, and 1 frigate. So we'll probably deal with the frigate first, but we do need to be careful of keeping our transversal. So first of all, let me see where the battleship is. He's right there. Because his shots, if he gets a good shot on us, are going to take off lots of our health. So we want to make sure that we keep up our transversal to be high, and we take out this little guy. Usually when you have a battleship, some of the battleships, like the drifter battleships, because they have so much HP, you'll see that they're already got their shield down. This guy, we're going to have to take everything from him. So this is where it can slow us down, because we've got to basically apply enough battleship damage. But I don't think he reps too much. I should be able to get into a nice orbit, a 10k orbit. Oh, we took a see, because I stopped manual pilot in there, and we took one shot from him, it was over 200 hit points. Remember, this is Gamma, so we have 2.5k, so we've got 1,000 extra hit points. That's like more than an extra medium shield extender that's on us. But I've now settled into a nice orbit where he is missing us. We're just going so fast, even though I've got a Microwarpdrive. We're so fast, it's such a high transversal that he can't get us. While I've been talking, obviously I've failed to realise I didn't have my missiles on, so there we go. That's us got full damage on him now. We've got 2 additional loot opportunities here, and we have 9 minutes 20, so we'll see how we are. What I might do is I might try and get our efficiency up. I'll go see if I can snipe the cache just now. See how tight an orbit I can get in that. We should be able to keep up enough transversal that he won't hit us, and we can survive a couple of hits. One shot should be enough. Now I've got to loot this cache really kind of without stopping, so we'll see how it goes. I can put my missiles back in him as soon as I can. Can we snipe it? Yes we can. Oh, we got a blueprint. Lovely. We'll see what that is in a wee minute. Okay, he's about half armor. I'm going to see if I can just apply a wee bit of heat, just speed things up. I might not be able to get both of the... I should be able to in 6 minutes. So watch I don't burn out my gun, but I'm okay with applying just a little bit of heat, just to speed things up a touch. Like I said, this worm, you know, it's, if you look at the bonuses, then, you know, we are getting a kinetic and thermal missile damage, so we are able to do that good missile damage. But it's the 300% light combat drone damage and hit points that's really the kind of most impactful, I'd say, and it allowed our drones to survive that first AoE hit. It only took them out of shield. If they had 300% less hit points, then they'd probably be dead in that first go. So in a place where if you lose your drones, then you can't get replacements, and if you need them to complete it, then as I said, if we didn't have these drones right now, then against those Skybreakers, which are probably one of the toughest rooms to get first time, it required me to use some manual piloting to kind of overcome it. Then you can just be sitting there for 20 minutes watching your lovely shiny ship die slow death, or self-destruct it, and seppuku it out. Interested to see how much this is going to be worth. Oh, it's a mutaplasmid. Nice. Alright, this guy is nearly dead, so I'm going to start heading over to this extraction node. I still have 6 minutes 36. That's why it's good to, you always have to remember what room you're in, but this is the origin candidate, so that's how you know that this will take you back. And then hopefully we don't have any newts sitting on top of us ready to kill us. So let's see what we get here. An extra, was that 1 million or 100k? I'm not 100% sure. It was actually 1 million, I think. Cool. And then we'll talk about the loot we got, and that's really going to be the class once I'm out. So that was a tier 1. Maybe in a few weeks I'll do a tier 2, or we might just jump to tier 3 because I hear that's the best loot. Probably do a few of those off stream though. I've never run a tier 3 myself. I think tier 2 has been my highest so far, so we'll see how that goes. There's an extra 300k, so we're able to snipe all the loot. That was thanks to just our Microwarpdrive, because if we had a wee Afterburner, like I said before, it would just take us too long to go these bigger distances. And we did that in 15 minutes. So we still had 5 minutes to spare. Now, here's the moment of truth. Although I have the total loot, which is 7.2 million plus whatever that Multiplasm might be worth. Let us hope no one has found us in our little pocket system. The system is blue, which is great to see. So we'll just get back safe to the Fortizar, and then we'll talk about the loot we got.
Docking request accepted.
Alright, so in our loot, we didn't actually get any filaments this time. Oh no, we did. Of course we did. Over there. So we looted some new filaments. We even got a tier 2, this agitated, so that would be the tier above. However, I think I would need a different fit. You saw that Skybreaker room really kind of pushed the limits of this ship and fit, so I would have to have a wee look and see what I would want to take in there. This worm could probably handle some of the rooms, but then it's a kind of lottery. Do you get a death room that would kill you, and how many of those exist for your fit? So you need to make sure what you're getting into. None of these are particularly valuable, so 112k, but you can, even from tier 1, you can get like a tier 3 or a tier 4, and certain, I think it is usually the Gamma, because that is run with Aguila, those can be worth 10, 20 million, because you're expected to get something like 30 or 40 million from it. So the 0 point condensate and the crystalline Eisen, that is the materials effectively. That is what you have, mined from your, not enemies, or the cache. So if you look at any Abyssal blueprint, then, well, not the Mutaplasmids, but if you get a blueprint for, say, an Abyssal Triglavian ship, or their disintegrators, or their meson ammo, that type of things, then it is these crystalline isogens and 0 point condensates as the special materials. So you can farm that up and just make things if you're into industry, or of course these have a value. So that's what, 53,000 S per unit, so we've got 500,000 sitting there, and 400k there. These Triglavian survey, you'll find that quite often the bulk of your, oh, I didn't see that cheeky little fierce electrical, so that's 1.2 million for a tier 3 electrical that we also happen to get. The Triglavian survey ones are generally sold, or can be sold, to NPC orders. So when you view market, a lot of people will be selling them, and people will put in a few buy orders. These are all people ones. You see that they're around 100k. That's because to the NPC orders, they are 100k set price. So that would be 3.5 million exactly. So that's your kind of NPC loot. If you're running that in high-sec, then you just have to transport that to the nearest station where the NPC orders. Remember, you can see it's an NPC order because it has an expiry time longer than 3 months, and it will be 100k. If anyone is silly enough to place a buy order for 100k, then feel free to sell it to them, because you'll just make the same money. But generally what people do is they'll put up around 75k or so buy orders at trade hubs, or stations where maybe a lot of Abyssal players are known to run things, and you can just dump the loot here for a little loss, but without the hassle of having to transport it. So you can make that kind of choice. Down in Null, you can also throw these things in the buyback as well, and there might be specific buybacks for Triglavian loot too. I remember there used to be one. I haven't used one since I came back to Eve. Like I said, we've got this cheeky little blueprint. Don't know if anyone's put up a contract. So 4.5 million there for that. Or there's a few selling for 1, I guess. But depending on what, you can get blueprint copies of various Triglavian things, so that can add a little kind of random factor into your kind of loot haul. We did not bad there. That one run's coming up, except for the blueprint, so maybe add another million for that at a minimum. That we got 7.2 there. Just out of interest, how does? Oh, sorry guys, I was actually mute there. Apologies. So we're just talking about the loot. And what we can use it for. Like I said, we get 7.2 million out of that run. So we did that in what, 15 minutes. So multiply that by 4, and for this time that's going to be our S per hour. However, there is quite a bit of variability in the loot. Let's say this is kind of mid outcome actually. You can get tier 4. We got up to a tier 3 filament. Hopefully I've not been on mute too long. I need to check the playback and maybe do a wee voiceover if I was. But you do, like I said, you can get blueprint copies like this. You can get ones that might be worth a bit more. This one didn't look too valuable though. It was selling for 1 million in Jita. Just before I realised I was on mute, I just wanted to see how much this would sell for. So you can sell these. It's one run only for 13 million. The cost is 9 million. So you can make 3 mil there if you are buying these materials. So 10 million in the run. That's not too bad. Times that by 4, 40 million an hour. That's pretty okay for alpha level content. Caveat there is, okay, I was using a fit that cleared that a little bit faster and a little bit safer and smoother run than potentially some of the T1 fits that we have posted. I'm going to see if I can get them into chat, and I'll also post them over on YouTube. In fact, do you know what? I will just post them over on YouTube. I think that would be best for this one. So if there is no more questions, that was a tier 1 run to show you the kind of level of difficulty in it, and this will get posted over onto YouTube. So if anyone wasn't able to join tonight, you can watch it on there. And for once, we actually kept to our time. That's a first. Alright folks, thanks very much. I will just head off there and get this up on YouTube as soon as I can.